There is thus an unbroken history of witness testimony in Senate impeachment trials. Presidential and judicial, I would argue in the case of a president, it is even more important to hear the witnesses and see the documents. Any conceivable doubt on this score, and there should be none left, is dispelled by the Senate's own rules for trial of impeachment. Obtaining documents and hearing live witness testimony is so fundamental that the rules of procedure and practice in the Senate when sitting on impeachment trials, which date back to the 19th century, devote more attention to the gathering, handling, and admission of new evidence than any other single subject. These rules expressly contemplate that the Senate will hear evidence and conduct a thorough trial when sitting as a court of impeachment. At every turn, they reject the notion that the Senate would take the House's evidentiary record, blind itself to everything else, and vote to convict or acquit. For example, Rule 6 says the Senate shall have the power to compel the attendance of witnesses and enforce obedience to its orders. Rule 7 authorizes the presiding officer to rule on all questions of evidence, including but not limited to questions of relevancy, materiality, and redundancy. This rule, too, presumes that the Senate trial will have testimony, giving rise to such questions. Rule 11 authorizes the full Senate to designate a committee of senators to receive evidence and take testimony at such times and places as the committee may determine. As Rule 11 makes clear, the committee's report must be transmitted to the full Senate for final adjudication. But nothing herein, the rule states, shall prevent the Senate from sending for any witness and hearing his testimony in open Senate or by order of the Senate involving the entire trial in the open Senate. Here, too, the Senate's operative impeachment rules expressly contemplate and provide for subpoenaing witnesses and hearing their testimony as part of the Senate trial. And the list goes on. These rules plainly contemplate a robust role for the Senate in gathering and considering evidence. They reflect centuries of practice of accepting and requiring new evidence in Senate trials. This Senate should honor that practice today by rejecting this resolution.
So it's important to know that Donald Trump has prevented all of the witnesses from inside the White House from testifying, and any evidence that the White House has control of from being released to the impeachment inquiry. So Democrats are sitting back saying, hey, okay, so now that we have a trial, we need to force them to bring those witnesses forward and to bring all the documents that they've withheld out from the shadows, because this is the trial. Everyone deserves to know the truth. So you have Republicans, who Donald Trump is a Republican, Mitch McConnell, he's the Senate Majority Leader, he's a Republican, saying, no, let's get this trial done in a few days and no witnesses and no documents coming forward. And then you have an impeachment manager from the House, Adam Schiff, who oversaw the impeachment inquiry in the House, get up in front of the Senate and explain to Mitch McConnell that there are rules for a Senate trial on how to bring witnesses forward and how to bring new evidence forward. Adam Schiff is just destroying Mitch McConnell's arguments here. And Mitch McConnell really has no legs to stand on except for, hey, I'm the majority leader and I can control this process as much as the American people are gonna be distracted and let me just get away with this. Because he's just totally gonna ignore the rules of the game being played until a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump are gonna be like, whoa, I mean, yeah, I voted for the guy, but hold on a second here. That guy's on trial and the evidence needs to be presented. Both for, Democrats are making the argument, don't you want there to be evidence? Don't you want all the evidence to come out? Because there could be evidence that could clear Donald Trump, right? Like, don't you want him to have a fair trial? If you do, then we should, play by the rules, right? Mitch McConnell clearly just does not want to play by the rules. And we're seeing pressure building from Democrats who are just simply reciting the rules to him in the hopes that the American people will realize, oh, wow, yeah, he is playing dirty.